Okay. So here we go. So this recipe, a friend invited me to, she takes cooking classes regularly, and with COVID, this company, Sur La Table is the store that she kind of went through, had all these online classes, and some are like a live and you do them together from your own kitchen with their chef. And then they had some that were just videos that you could watch anytime you wanted. And this was one of those that we watched as a video, and I just took some pictures along the way. So the actual recipe is kind of hard to see, so I retyped the ingredients, and when we put it on the blog, it'll be bigger, so you'll be able to see it better. I just needed this to fit on the screen. You'll see in a minute. But the ingredients were, it's pretty simple. It's half a pound of bittersweet chocolate, and we use semi-sweet, the baker's semi-sweet instead of bittersweet. And then unsalted butter, 2 eggs, honey, granulated sugar, Dutch cocoa powder. And I did not know this, but like Dutch is a term that means something. A little salt. The finely ground almonds is what ends up being the flour. So this does not have any flour in it, which might, I guess, means that it's gluten-free, if I've got that right. I'm not 100% sure, but they're delicious. So then it has some sugar granulated for rolling the cookies in, rolling the batter in. And then it has something called icing sugar, and we didn't do that. We thought it was powdered sugar, and I think you're supposed to roll the cookie in it after it's baked. We did not do that. So as you can see, this is the step-by-step recipe, and I'll walk you through the steps as we go. But it is very detailed, so when you see this, you could blow it up on your screen and get all the details. So we were figuring we'd spend about 4 hours and make a couple different recipes, my friend and I. And she had looked at the beginning of the recipe, and she saw how long it would take, and she only saw the active time 1 hour. She didn't see this total time of 8 hours. So we got to the part where everything was mixed and we were ready to put them in the oven, and it said, put it in the refrigerator for 5 hours. So I took the batter, we made another batch, and so she had a batch and I had a batch, and I took them home. And so they do freeze well before you bake them. And so prior to baking, and what I found at the end of the recipe is that it would be better to just bake the number of cookies you're going to eat at that time, because when they've cooled just slightly, so they're still warm, but they're not hot, is the prime time to eat them. I'll show you in a little bit further. So, here's the chocolate, the butter, the flour. I'm sorry, not the flour. We didn't use that for this recipe. She had it for another one. But these were the chopped almonds. And so here we go. We use the semi-sweet. So this is an expensive recipe to make, because I believe each one of these little things is like $4.50 or $5. But you melt the chocolate over a double boiler. And I didn't get a picture of this, but you have to cut up the chocolate before you put it in the pan. And So when I cut something as firm as that chocolate, I would put my hand on top of the blade and kind of rock the knife back and forth. And apparently that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to pinch the knife blade up near where the handle goes into the blade, and you rock it from there. And that's much harder to do. I don't know how the chocolate can tell that you didn't do it the other way. I have no idea. My fingers hurt doing it the right way. So if I make this again, I'll probably do it the wrong way. And nobody would know. But the chocolate melts quickly, and then you add in the butter and just stir it. You're still doing this over the double boiler. So you've got the water underneath boiling. And it starts to, the butter makes it kind of pull together a little bit more. And then in another pan, you're beating the eggs, the 2 eggs, and you're gonna put a tablespoon of honey in. And this was the coolest thing that I did not know. Before you measure honey, you put a little vegetable oil in your measuring spoon or measuring cup. And then you put the honey in, and it just pulls out. I mean, it just pours out. It's nothing sticks. Now, maybe everybody else already knew that, but I didn't. And I've always felt badly that I've wasted all that, honeybees' energies by not getting all out of the measuring utensil. So that was a cool thing to learn. And then you beat that up, and you then fold 1/3 of the egg mixture into the chocolate mixture. And then you gently fold in the other 2/3 individually, 1/3 at a time. Okay, and it gets all shiny. And here's this Dutch process cocoa powder. And this is your ground almonds. And we decided, since we liked a little bit of a crunch, that we would not grind the almonds to a total powder. We left a little bit of texture in it. But if you liked it totally smooth, you could do that. And it takes 2/3 of a cup, and you're gonna mix the cocoa powder in with the almonds, ground almonds. And let's see, you also add a little bit of salt in that. And there you go, you're mixing it together. And so this is where we were ready to, we had the oven preheated and we were ready to go. But we needed to wait 5 hours. So back at my house, it was the next day. So it stayed overnight in the refrigerator. And it was stiff enough, and I rolled it in the sugar, and just kind of to make it not so sticky. And I baked them all at once. And again, I would not do that anymore. I would freeze them. I'd shape them like this, and then put them in the freezer and just get out what you wanted. They cooked for about 15 minutes at 325, so a slow, not that hot a temperature. And this is what they looked like coming out. And they were really good. They did have that truffle quality of just smooth richness that, again, since if you had really ground the almonds to a powder, you wouldn't have the crunch, and it probably would taste even a little more like truffles. But to have them slightly warm, not hot, they were at their best. And I would recommend, like, you really don't want to eat more than one at a time. They're so good. So that's the recipe. I think that's all I've got. Let me see, I have a question, and I think it's almost time to be done. Let's see. No. Are those brown duck eggs? I don't think so, Jack. I'm going to stop share. Does anybody have any questions? Those would be good Christmas gifts, actually, to make them and give them to the people with the cooking instructions, but give them frozen. Those would be, they really are that special.
How much did the recipe make, Kathleen?
You know, it only made 16 cookies.
That was your half, right?
No.
Total.
We had to make a whole nother recipe for her. And actually, you know, does it say? Mine might have only made 12. I might have made, I'm trying to just picture my cookie sheet. It might have only made 12. I mean, you know, so it is an expensive recipe. That's why maybe to do it for something really special or as a gift, I would recommend it. But you wouldn't make them for kids. You know, they would not appreciate all that went into it and the subtleties of flavor. So, but if you have anybody that, is it the flour that makes something gluten? Because if that is, this is an amazing alternative. I've not made anything gluten-free before, and I was really impressed. So, any other questions? All right, well, I'm gonna say good night and thank you for watching the program. It'll be on YouTube probably in a week, and the recipe will be more visible, and we can.
Kathleen, would you run through the upcoming shows really quickly?
Yes, so we have, again, no program next Sunday, but on the 28th, Lanny and Billy are going to talk about New York City. And on the 5th of December, Mary is going to share Cape Town, South Africa. And then Jim is going to, on the 12th, is going to kind of share with how you plan wanting to be in the best place for a solar eclipse and then how to photograph it. And his pictures are really phenomenal. So he has some good tips. And then we are not going to have programs on the 19th of December or the 26th due to holidays. And then starting in January, we are actually going to we're going to shift to a new format of having a travel program on the first Sunday of the month. And then on the third Sunday of the month, we will have a welcome new members and a technical time. So if you have questions on using the website or, you know, how do you download the directory or how do you print certain pages or just, you know, it's just going to be you might come on and get off, or everybody's welcome to just come and visit. But there won't be a planned program on that third Sunday. And we'll see how it goes. If